Welcome back to Aussie Prison Talk. Today I'm going to be speaking on the worst thing that I've seen in prison, and also I'm going to be speaking on my worst cellie, my worst cellmate that I had in prison. Now, the worst thing that I've seen in prison was in Goulburn. This was in Goulburn in the late 90s, and back then it used to be called the Killing Fields. Goulburn was called the Killing Fields. Very, very violent, very rough prison. Now, this incident that I'm going to be speaking on, this happened in my wing. Now, we all get released from our cells on this day because we were currently on a lockdown. We're currently on a lockdown because a guy got stabbed. A guy got stabbed, and we all went on lockdown. And so this was like, at this stage we were on lockdown for a week after that incident. And we get out this day, they pop our cells, because in Goulburn, the cells have got these big iron doors, big heavy iron doors, and they have these big giant, like big padlocks, you know, big solid padlocks that they lock their cell doors with. So they unlock the padlock and they slide the bolt across to open the cells or let us out. And you see, I was on the third tier, you know, because you've got three tiers. You've got the ground floor, second floor, then you've got the third tier. I was up on the third tier, and I've gone down to the ground floor, because that's where the kitchen was, you know, where you get served the meals. All the meals get served out and that. So I'm standing there in the line, right? I'm standing there in the line, and probably about 5 guys in front of me, right? There was this dude standing there in the line, and all of a sudden, like, I'm standing there and I'm chatting it up, you know, chopping it up with the guy behind me, because he was my next door neighbour, you know what I mean? And we're sitting there, standing there talking, and, you know, and all of a sudden, this dude comes running past us, and in his hand, right, he's got a Breville. He's got a Breville in his hand, and what this Breville is where you toast your sandwiches, you know what I mean, to make grilled cheese sandwiches, you know what I mean, grilled cheese and ham sandwiches, you know, stuff like that. So this dude's got this Breville in his hand, and he runs past us, right, and he goes up to where this guy's standing, you know, 5 guys in front of me, and he's got this Breville and he's going, bang, and he smashed this guy with a Breville on the side of the face, right, and oh my God, all you're seeing is this, like, all his blood comes spurting out, and he's got this big tear in his cheek, right, and then he's dropped the Breville, right, after he smashed him in the face with the Breville, and then he's dropped it, and then he's pulled out his shiv, right. He's put his hand down his pants and he pulled out his shiv, and, you know, which is like a prison shank, a prison knife, and the blade on it was probably about that long, and all of a sudden, bang, he stabs him in the neck. Stabs him in the neck, right, and then bang, stabs him right in the throat, and you can see all the blood, you know, all the blood's pissing out of his neck, and you've got the blood coming out of his face, right, and you've got his eye, his left eye, actually hanging out, his teeth are just all busted and smashed, right, and this guy is just repeatedly stabbing him, and this is all going down right in front of me, right, probably about 10 metres away. This is all going down 10 metres away from me, and like, I'm standing there, and I'm seeing all this shit go down, and this guy, you know, first we see him get smashed in the face with a Breville, and then we get to see him repeatedly get stabbed in the neck, and then, you know, started stabbing him in the chest, and I looked at the guy behind me, right, that I was talking to, my next door neighbour, you know, Scotty, and we've just gone like this. We shook our head, you know, and I turned around and done this, like I went like this. Come on, let's go. You know what I mean? So we're out of there, and we go back up to our cell, right? Back up on the third tier, and this guy, I tell you what, you know, after he got stabbed like probably about the third or fourth time, he collapsed, and he's down on the ground, and this guy's still stabbing him, right? And you know what? It took the COs, right? Like, it took them forever. It seemed like 5 minutes went by before they actually came in, but it was probably only like a half a minute or something, you know. And they've all come running in, you know, lock down, get back to your cell, get back to your cell. You know what I mean? And all the guys scattered, go back to the cell. You know, they run up, and these guards, right? These guards like pulled out the baton and smashed the dude on the kneecap. You know what I mean? And so he goes down, and they jump on him. You know, disarm him, get the shiv out of his hand. You know. And this guy that's just been smashed with a barrel and stabbed repeatedly, he's laying there in a pool of blood, right? He's laying there in a pool of blood, and like, I can still vividly, right? Not only can I still vividly see, but I can like still smell the blood. You know, that smell of blood. You know what I mean? And that lingered for a while. I mean, I can still smell it now. It was crazy. You know, and this, like, we couldn't do nothing. It's, you know, it's none of our business. You know what I mean? And and later we found out that it was because of a drug debt, right? This is what I tell you, all you kids out there. Hopefully you don't end up in prison, or anyone else ends up in prison. And because this is what I say, do not use drugs. If you, God forbid, you do go to prison, and I hope you don't, and because that's what happens. People, you know, use drugs in there. They get drugs from someone, you know, promise that they'll pay them on a certain day, knowing full well that they're not going to be able to pay it. But they're not thinking about that. All they're thinking about is that hit. You know what I mean? They're not thinking about the consequences. You know, as a former drug dealer, as a former drug user myself, I know firsthand that there's only one thing you're thinking of, and that's getting a hit. You're not thinking about the consequences, you know, what comes later. But, you know, this is why I say, don't use drugs in prison, and don't gamble, because it only leads to problems such as this incident, you know. And we don't know what happened to that guy, because, you know, he ended up getting helicoptered out of there. That's how serious it was. And never seen that guy again. But the guy that ended up stabbing him up, you know, for not paying the drug debt, you know, he ended up getting an outside street charge, you know, of attempted murder. It was like attempted murder and some other charge, and, you know, I don't know if that got upgraded to murder later on, if he died or what, you know. But that was one of the worst things that I've seen in prison, and this was in Goulburn, which is called the Killing Fields. And one other thing that I remember vividly, you know, that was like also one of the worst things that I've seen in prison, you know. And coming back, I was coming back from the clinic because I just seen the dentist, and come back into the wing. And I go probably about 4 cells before mine, and here's this guy just laying like half in his cell and half out onto the wing, right? He's laying there in a pool of blood, right? So I couldn't do nothing, you know. I just had to step over him. And keep it moving, because it's got nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? It's not my beef. It's not my problem. Got nothing to do with me. So I stepped over and kept on walking, you know. And that guy was dead, you know. He got killed in prison. And that was very common back then, you know what I mean? Because like I said, Goulburn was called the Killing Fields. So those were the worst things that I've seen in prison. And the other thing I'm going to speak on today is my worst cellmate. The worst cellmate that I had in prison. Now, this was also in Goulburn. Right, my worst cellmate was when I was in Goulburn. And this was like back in the late 90s, probably I think it was about 99, 98, 99. And I was already in the cell, and I've already been into my cell at that stage maybe about a couple of years. And I ended up getting a new cellmate because my other cellmate ended up getting released on parole after he'd done his time. And so, eventually, like after a while, a couple of weeks I think it was, I get a new cellmate. And they put this dude in my cell, and he was a white guy, a white guy like myself. And at that stage, like I was only young myself, you know what I mean? Like I was 20 years old, right? I was 20 years old, and by this stage, like I wasn't green to prison, and already got, like a serious bit or two under my belt, and they put this kid in there, 18 years old, and first time, it was his first time in prison. And the reason why he ended up in Goulburn, maximum security, is because he was in there for a violent robbery. Like, I was in there for armed robbery, and armed robbery with a knife, but he was in there just for robbery. And it was, and that's the other thing back in those days, a lot of the robberies that happened, right, guys used to use a syringe and fill it up with their own blood, right? And then they'll go into, some business and threaten them with that syringe full of blood, and they'll say, look, I've got AIDS, you know what I mean? I've got AIDS, and if you don't give me the money, I'm going to stab you with the syringe with the blood, with my blood in it, that's got AIDS in it, right? And that's how we done it. And like I said to him, I said, you're a putrid. I said, you're a putrid doing that. He goes, but you done yours with a knife. And I said, yeah, that's right. I've done mine with a knife. I wasn't, bloody getting a syringe and filling with my own blood and saying it's got AIDS in there. I mean, damn. That's just bloody messed up. So I'll get this kid in there, and I forget his first name. But his last name was Matthews, and he only got, I think it was 3.5 years, right? And the reason why I say he was my worst cellmate, because, the first 24 hours, right, because every morning when the doors get popped, I go down there and have a shower, right? And we've got this bathroom, not so much a bathroom, but a big room. It sort of looks like showers that, them showers in the gym. How you've probably got 5 to 10 showers, with, it's got the barricades, And so I used to go there every morning, first have my shower, right? And I've had my shower, and I've come back to the cell, and he's just sitting there, right? He's just sitting there watching my TV, you know what I mean? Because I had my own TV and I had everything. And I said to him, I said, dude, showers are on. I said, you're going to go and have a shower? And he goes, no, I don't feel like it, right? And I'm like, why is that? And he goes, I just can't be bothered. And I'm like, oh yeah? And I said, when was the last time that you had to shower, right? And he goes, oh, about 3 days ago. And I said, well, that's putrid. I said, you have to get in there and bloody have a shower. You're not going to be in my cell, and be a chat, because, that shit's just not going to fly. So he's like, yeah, I'll go and have a shower, right? And he never, on that day, and the next day come, didn't jump in the shower, right? And by this stage, it's like a week gone by without him having the shower, and by this stage he was starting to smell. You know, he was starting to smell, starting to stink, and I tell you what, I don't know what the hell he's been eating or what the hell bloody crawled in him and died, but every time he used to fart and break wind, oh my God, it was like a toxic gas going off. It was like toxic gas going off, right? And it was like almost bloody passed out from the smells how bloody bad it was. You know, or, you know, like God forbid he had to go to the toilet when I was stuck in the cell with him. You know, and that was even bad. Like, I'm up in the window and I've got my bloody nose half hanging out the window, trying not to frickin' pass out because of the smell. You know, and the thing that really annoyed me, right, he didn't do the courtesy flush. Now, what I mean by a courtesy flush, right, when you do a number two, and you have to do a number two where in the cell, sometimes that just can't be helped, right? As soon as it hits the water, you flush. But he never used to do that, right? Bang, hit the water, bang, hit the water. I'm like, dude, courtesy flush, right? No. No, never happened. And I was like, oh my God, and it was so annoying, right? It was like, he used to talk about the stupidest shit, you know. One day he'd be sitting there talking to me, you know, like he'd be sitting there talking to me about frickin' aliens or frickin' Martians, you know, and I'm like, this dude's frickin' weird, he's lost it, you know, he's lost the plot, been using too much frickin' drugs, you know. I was thinking, damn. And not only that, he used to snore. And I was like, no, hell no, I'm not putting up with this shit, right? He wouldn't shower, he wouldn't do the courtesy flush, you know what I mean? Or he wouldn't, like, take turns in cleaning the cell, because I used to always mop and, you know, sweep and mop the floor every day. And he never done that once, right? So I was like, no, I'm not copping this. This is my cell, you know what I mean? He's not coming in here and living like a chat. That's just not happening, you know. So after we got locked in for that afternoon, right, I tell you what, that night I sat down I sat down on my bench and he was sitting up on his bunk, because I was on the bottom bunk and he was on the top bunk, and he's sitting up there. And then I jumped up and I said, look, right, you got two options. In the morning, you get your chatty ass into that shower, right? Start pulling your weight. Otherwise, I'm going to take care of you, and you're going to be out of here. And he goes, what's that supposed to mean? You're threatening me? And I said, well, you can take it however you want. I don't care, pal. But this is my cell, and you're not going to come in here and live like a chat, right? And he's going, no, I'm not fucking copping that. And I said, well, do something. Do something. You know what I mean? And he's up there, lip smacking, right? And I'm like, no. So I've grabbed him, and I've pulled him off the top bunk, and he's gone smack, and he's hit the ground, right? And he's popped back up, and he's like throwing a bloody weak punch, or a helicopter, and it's gone straight over my head, right? He's gone straight over my head, and I'm thinking, you fucking clown. And I've just gone bang, and I gave him a nice three-piece, you know, a nice three-piece right in the jaw. And then, like, I just fucking threw him, right? I got him and fucking threw him against the door, because, I mean, I was a solid guy, you know. I was probably about 200 pounds in, or probably about 190, 195, and he was like only like 160, right? Soaking wet. So I've just gone bang after I smashed him, and I've got him, picked him up, threw him against the fucking door, and I said to him, right, you call the fucking screws and you get him out of my fucking cell. I'm not having a chat in my cell. Right? You tell him that you want out of here now. And so that was one of my, you know, worst cellmates. And he ended up being a snitch. Right? He ended up snitching on me, you know, when the COs came up and bloody, you know, he pulled him out of the cell. And, you know, and he said to him, well, you bashed me for no reason, you know. And the CEOs know that I only do stuff in there like that if there's a good reason to. Excuse me, I just don't go ahead and smash him your Cellmate. You know what I mean? And so he gets taken away. You know, they take him out and they end up putting him in protection. And here in Australia, right, here in Sydney, Australia, you know, it's called the boneyard. You know, they put him in the boneyard. That's where all your putrid cunts go, like your chomos, your snitches, ex-cops, ex-judges, ex-lawyers, you know, bloody cops or whoever. That's where they go. And that was like, I tell you what, I've had a few bloody bad cellmates, but he was one of the worst, you know. And the other thing about Goulburn, the other thing that Goulburn was notorious for is we had these big ass cockroaches, right? These cockroaches were probably like maybe that big, and sometimes even like bigger, like even bigger ones. And it wasn't also them big cockroaches, but we also had these big ass rats, you know, that used to bloody come, because in Goulburn, right, it's an old jail. Goulburn's an old jail, and that prison was built in 1800s, right? And the best way I can like describe it, you know, it's an old sandstone building, and the windows, right, are cut out of the sandstone building, and you just got 3 bars, right? You just got 3 bars there, and these freaking big ass rats used to bloody crawl up the bloody wall and get into the cell, right? And if they were like, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes they used to bloody go around, like jump in the window and go around the cracks, and then jump on the bed onto you, you know what I mean? And then onto the other side, you know, or if it wasn't that, you used to hear them, you know, you used to wake up over night time, because you hear all this like shuffling sounds, you know, and they used to get in our food and eat our food, and you know, and in summertime we get these big ass spiders, huntsman spiders, the really big hairy bloody things, you know. And but the main spiders that we used to always get here in Australia, they're called redbacks. Redback spiders, and they're very, very dangerous, and they're very venomous, you know. And we used to get a lot of them there too, you know. And yeah, it was pretty bad. But I thought I'll drop a few stories in this video. And my bad that, you know, it's been a few days since I've dropped a new video, but I've got a lot of stuff going on at the moment, you know. And one thing that I always seem to do is get in my own way. You know, I've got to learn to get the hell out of my own way. You know what I mean? And stop getting in my own way and just focus on what I'm doing, you know. And also, I also want to give a big shout out to Harvey from Harvey Talks Prison. Since I've started this channel, he's shown me a lot of love, a lot of support. I really, really appreciate it, you know. And he's done absolutely wonders for my channel. You know, he's got the word out there, you know, and thanks to him, my subscriber count is going up. I've now got 31 subscribers, so, you know, I've got Harvey mainly to thank for that. And, you know, and the other guy I want to give a shout out to is Sean from Federal Prison Talk. He mentioned my channel, and gave my channel a plug on one of his videos that he done with Harvey from Harvey Talks Prison. So I want to give a big shout out to him also, and you know, and just say thanks, and I appreciate the love and support. And hopefully I can get onto his channel, you know, because he wants to interview me. So hopefully we can get that cracking first. But I promised Harvey that I wouldn't go on no one else's channel until I went on his first. And one thing about me is not only do I, you know, like always keep things 100, and my word is my bond. If I say I'm going to do something, I'll do it. I'll follow it through. You know, like there's no BSing with me. This is me. This is who I am. You know what I mean? I tell things as it is and talk about, you know, my experiences, you know, and through my life and my prison life, you know, and so I want to give a big shout out to those guys and all you APT family out there that's been watching, subscribing, liking my videos. I really appreciate it. Appreciate the love and support. Please continue to support me on my channel. Please subscribe, and after you hit that subscribe button, right next to that, hit the notification bell, hit all, so you get notified every time I drop a new video, and then you can jump on that and watch it whenever you're ready. And please like, comment and share my videos, and also, you got any suggestions on what you would like to hear or anything you want me to talk about or mention, just let me know. Drop a comment down below and I'll sure to check that out. And one thing with me, as do with Harvey and Sean and a lot of other channels, you know, like I'll always comment back, you know. If you leave a comment, I'll always reply, you know, and so that's it for today, guys, and I will drop a new video tomorrow. The other thing I want to mention, I'm going to drop for right now, you know, just because I've just started this channel, trying to get things rolling. I'm going to drop 2 videos a week, right? 2 videos a week, so the first video will be on a Wednesday, and then the second video will be on Friday. So every Wednesday and every Friday is when I'll drop a new video, okay? So I just want to let you guys know that too. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, hit that bell. And please take care, and I'll see you guys all again real soon. Aussie Prison Talk out. Peace.